In his battle against HIV, he also ushered in a new model where the medical community and...
Wait a minute!
which sparked public fear.
Nature has already done the experiment to tell us that not only is a vaccine feasible, a vaccine is likely, because we know the immune response is capable of doing that. The problem with HIV is that literally in an unprecedented way, HIV does not elicit a protective immune response in the body. And in fact, of the tens of millions of people who've been infected with HIV, there's not a single documented case of someone with established infection who's actually arrested.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley from Amaze, and this is it. Last chance to win this stunning.
Now, can you explain in the most kid-friendly terms possible how an RNA vaccine works and how it maybe differs from a typical vaccine?
Well, I think first you have to go back and talk about what the genetic code of all life is. That everything that is living has in common what we call genes. And genes are certain building blocks of knowledge and function that makes you look like you look, how tall you are, how short you are, what the color of your eyes are, and all kinds of things. And the way those building blocks, those genes do it, it's made up of a substance called DNA. And what DNA does is that's where the code is. So if you want to make skin or make something that repairs your body or even develops you as a human being, these codes make protein, but they can't make protein directly. What they do is they send out messages, and these messages are called RNA. And the RNA then is the signal to make a particular protein. So let's say the protein is your own blood to keep you alive. You have the genes, the codes, that codes for an RNA. The RNA codes for a protein, and the protein is...
And joining us on the show this evening are Ray Locker, author and presidential historians, live from Washington this evening, Washington, D.C. Ravi Batra, attorney, chair, National Advisory Council for South Asia Affairs. That's Dr. Ravi Batra. Andrew K.P. Leung, who's international and independent China strategist. He's live from Hong Kong.
The Chinese city where the coronavirus pandemic is believed to have started over a year ago. A team of experts from the WHO on the ground in Wuhan this hour, and they have been there for a week. They're looking for clues as to where exactly the virus came from. Why? Well, to make sure this never happens again. As for what the team will find, well, in large part, that depends on how much China lets them poke around. Well, our David Culver has been living this story in China for a year. He spoke to one of the researchers.
People with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension. But no, by all means.
Where did the virus behind COVID-19 come from? Determining the origin of the World Health Organization
that was making scary
viruses or even other related time for achieving the sustainable development goals. The way things are moving, the way temperature is increasing for how
really suddenly.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, if you lived in this country 15 years ago and you've got a good memory, you may remember the creation of something called the National Security Deficit. They
overcrowd our hospitals, or overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units. leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer. And fourth, I want to emphasize that the vaccines provide very strong protection from severe illness from COVID-19. I know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation, but the world's leading scientists confirm that if you are fully vaccinated, your risk of severe illness from COVID-19 is very low. In fact, based on available data from the summer, only 1 out of every 160,000 fully vaccinated Americans was hospitalized for COVID per day. These are the facts. So here's where we stand. The path ahead, even with the Delta variant, is not nearly as bad as last winter. But what makes it incredibly more frustrating is that we have the tools to combat COVID-19, and a distinct minority of Americans, supported by a distinct minority of elected officials, are keeping us from turning the corner. These pandemic politics, as I refer to, are making people sick, causing unvaccinated people to die. We cannot allow these actions to stand in the way of protecting the large majority of Americans who have done their part and want to get back to life as normal. As your president, I'm announcing tonight a new plan to require more Americans to be vaccinated to combat those blocking public health. My plan also increases testing, protects our economy, and will make our kids safer in schools. It consists of 6 broad areas of action and many specific measures in each of those actions you can read more about in whitehouse.gov. Whitehouse.gov. The measures, these are going to take time to have full impact. But if we implement them, I believe, and the scientists indicate, that the months ahead we can reduce the number of unvaccinated Americans, decrease hospitalizations and deaths, and allow our children to go to school safely and keep our economy strong by keeping businesses open. First, we must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements. With nearly 80 million eligible Americans who have not gotten vaccinated, many said they were waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. Well, last month, the FDA granted that approval. So the time for waiting is over. This summer, we made progress through the combination of vaccine requirements and incentives, as well as the FDA approval. 4 million more people got their first shot in August than they did in July. But we need to do more. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the people you love. My job as president is to protect all Americans. So tonight, I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already requiring this. United Airlines, Disney, Tyson's Food, and even Fox News. The bottom line, we're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers. We're going to reduce the spread of COVID-19 by increasing the share of the workforce that is vaccinated in businesses all across America. My plan will extend the vaccination requirements that I previously issued in the healthcare field. Already, I've announced we'll be requiring vaccinations of all nursing home workers who treat patients on Medicare and Medicaid because I have that federal authority. Tonight, I'm using that same authority to expand that to cover those who work in hospitals, home health care facilities, or other medical facilities. A total of 17 million healthcare workers.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
Our runner tonight needs no introduction. He's Ben Richards, the brutal slayer of 60 men, women, and children in the Bakersfield Massacre.
Food riot in progress. Approximately 1,500 civilians moving in.
Yankee 99er, the crowd is unarmed. Repeat, unarmed. Abort attack. Acknowledge Yankee 99er.
The hell with you.
Lieutenant Sanders, take command. Detain Richards and return to base. Acknowledge Yankee 99er. Acknowledge. Return to base. Those are innocent, unarmed people down there. Cease fire! Cease fire!
Screw your freedom.